Welcome to Evil Within 2, everyone. This is my classic mode tips and trick guide. I'm basically gonna walk you through what I think are the key points to get you through classic mode. First one is in chapter 3. After we chase Stefano out of the warehouse, I immediately turn around, fire a shock bolt, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to get through these gates over here and then go up these stairs on the left. Now, this is 99% foolproof, meaning 99% of the time they won't chase you. But there's that 1% chance that they will, which I'll go over later. Now, my first save point is going to be in chapter 5 after we get the medical pouch and the key that's behind the safe house building. That's going to be the first save point. Normally, people would probably save before this area because you do a lot of farming. There's a couple things you need to get. There's 2 ammo pouches that are for the handgun, and then 1 for the shotgun. There's obviously the shotgun you want to get, the crossbow, the 2 sniper rifle parts, explosive bolt, and you want to unlock the other safe house so that you can get the smoke bolts. So there's a lot of stuff that you're doing in the beginning, and most people would want to save just because they don't want to lose all that progression that they did. Even though chapter 1 and 2 are just nothing, but 3 there's a lot of stuff that you're doing throughout the chapter. Now there is 8 keys to get. I only got 6 of them personally. I didn't get the one in the church, and I didn't get the one at the pit stop sign. I felt that they were too risky, and I just didn't want to take the chance. So like I was saying earlier, this is 99% foolproof. There's that 1% chance where they will actually climb up these stairs. And they actually do at 2 minutes and 45 seconds. They'll basically come around the corner. And I pretty much almost had a heart attack. But this is different from the first Evil Within. You know, you can actually take damage, even though you only get 7 saves. So it's kind of a different trade-off. I don't know which one is actually better, but I almost kind of like this where you can actually take damage, because there's so many different chances that, you know, you can get hit randomly. And here it is right here. Like, I literally had a heart attack there, but as you can see, you can take damage and you're okay. And right after that, I think I was scared to even walk close by there anymore. But alright. Once you complete that, you'll be done with chapter 3. You'll go talk to O'Neill. The next tip will be in chapter 4.
Shit, lost him again. Hope I can reach O'Neill this time.
Alright, we're in chapter 4 now. We're at the lockdown door, where we have to use our communicator to disengage it. After we do that, we're going to quickly go to the left to where that ladder is, and then we're going to basically stay there. The lockdown period takes about 3 minutes. That's what I timed it on my when I did the whole video. And the only things that are in this chapter that you would want to get is the ammo pouch, which is for the crossbow. It's right up this ladder. To the left is that door right there. There's a key in the toxic gas section, and there's another key outside the safe house towards the very end of the chapter. As you can see, by standing on this ladder, we're not wasting any ammo or nothing. None of the enemies can get you. They'll just swing at you a couple times and then go back to their normal routine. They'll actually climb the ladder up and down, and doesn't affect you at all. I think it happens right here. 2 of them climb down, and then they'll climb back up. You see, they just basically go right through you. It doesn't affect you at all. But this will save you a lot of ammo, and this is the main reason why I have not used a save yet, is Because I feel with the first tip in chapter 3, you can cheese the crawlers with the stairs. So they're not too big of an issue. You can just use the ladder right here. And then the next part of the gas section is fairly easy. There's only one enemy. And then the last guy you have to get by he's fairly easy. You just got to be patient with him. And then you're into chapter 5. The only thing you want to get there is that key. Like I mentioned, it's behind the safe house. And then you want to get that medical pouch. And then you'll be basically making your first save.
Jesus, the smell.
Alright, here we are. We're in chapter 5 now. We're done with chapter 3 and 4. I picked up the key that's behind the safe house over here, and then the medical pouch is over towards the right. Now we're going to use our first save here, is because when we enter the gates into City Hall, we're going to run past the boss. And a lot of things could go wrong. We did a lot of work in chapter 3, and chapter 4 wasn't too bad when we used the ladder. So this will actually be our very first save point. Alright, we're about ready to run past the boss so we can enter into City Hall. And this is something I probably should have mentioned earlier, and that's changing your button assignments to type B. What it does is it changes the sprint button from L3 to L1. Now by tapping the sprint button, it saves a lot of stamina, and it kind of gives a motion as he's jumping forward. It's a little harder to tap L3 than it is to just tap L1. It takes a bit to get used to, but I tested it out a lot in my nightmare mode, and I felt that it was better. I forgot to change it earlier on, versus when I get to chapter 5 and I remember, oh yeah, you're going to be running. As you can see right there, he just kind of jumps forward. Takes a bit to get used to, but it's something definitely you want to consider and worth trying out. Alright, we're about ready to run past the boss here, and it shouldn't be too stressful since we're right at our first save. What I like to do for the boss is I like to try to bait him into swinging at me, and then I want to start running towards that truck where the gas is leaking, and then I'm going to shoot the gas obviously to stop him a bit. He actually didn't swing at me there, but I make a mistake and I try to climb, and he swings and he hits the truck, so it kind of stops him right there, which was kind of lucky. You're going to round this corner, you're going to shoot the barrel, and then we're going to basically go under the wire, tripwire for the bus right here. And around that corner we're going to shoot another barrel. Now we're going to use a shock bolt after we shoot that barrel to slow down the boss again, because a lot of times he's right on your tail and we just need a little bit of time to get by. Trip this wire, and we're going to pick up these 2 explosive bolts. They have Stefano's name written all over them, and yes, we will be using them on him later. Now this particular run was almost flawless because the boss is nowhere to be found. But if the boss does come and hit you, depending on how lucky you are, I have a clip that I'm going to show where he actually hits me twice, and I was able to survive it. But I have been one-shotted by him one time before, so it's something you want to just be careful about. But, you know, like I said, we're at our first save. You know, you're not even 5 minutes into it. So if something happens wrong, you know, you're not losing a whole lot of time and progression. Alright, we're in Chapter 7, and what I like to do is I like to go straight to the other safe house and rescue Sykes. Now this is up for debate whether this is worth it or not. You can comment down below if you think it's worth it, and comment down below if you think it's not. A lot can go wrong, and a lot did go wrong for me. My first run through I actually died, but I was very determined to get this done. Now what I do is when I open that gate, I go right to the right and I'll fire a smoke bolt right where the fire hydrant is supposed to be. It gives me a chance to kick it and then not get disturbed. Right after that I'll switch to a shock bolt. And when you shoot it down on the ground with all the water, it'll stun all the enemies and they'll fall to the ground. And then you can just easily stomp them. Now again, doing this is highly risky, so risk versus reward, I guess you can say. Now there's an enemy around the corner that actually takes 4 shotgun bullets to kill. I shot her once, and then I shot her twice. She falls down. So I'm thinking, yeah, you know, she's dead. She's good. Little I know, she comes running behind me in about a couple seconds here. Yeah, right there. Right there, I get pretty much scared out of my pants. 3 shots, she goes down again. Now the video skips a little bit. She's not dead. She actually hits me, and it comes back right where I'm healing myself. And I'm about ready to shoot her the 4th time to finally kill her. After this, we're going to be in the second part of the phase, and where the enemies will start climbing the fence. Now where I'm positioned is kind of close to that fire hydrant, and I think this is a mistake because the enemies are still walking, but I'm not moving, and it could be my own doing. I don't know if it's like an animated cutscene to where the enemies can move but you're not moving, but you got to be very careful at that point there because you've seen how fast I got redded up and almost died. But once we clear out all these enemies, we're done. You hear him complaining, do something. You don't see me stomping him, do you? There's the last one right here is going to try to climb this truck. So a nice thing you can do is just shoot him with the pistol real quick. It'll fall down to the ground, and then you can just stomp him. And then that's it. We saved Sykes. Don't know if it's truly worth it or not, but later on there's a spot where I pick up 10 bullets. You can get another shotgun.
You just saved my ass. I didn't think anyone would come.
You're from the search team. How did you end up here? The server is online.
Yeah, I'm already in. I unlocked the supply containers just like I promised. See if you can open that one there.
Now that we completed the side mission getting things back online, we're able to get those weapons from those crates. Now I also got the 5 keys and the 2 ammo pouches, which I recommend you get. Now I'm making my second save here, even though I still have one painting to get, and that's the one that's inside the hotel with the Obscura. Now in my nightmare run, it actually one-shot killed me. So on the safe side, I made the save here beforehand. Our next save is going to be at the end of chapter 9. So the only thing we would have to do is the painting, fight Stefano, and then get through 9. Alright, this is the painting in the hotel. Now, you can probably make your save after this if you don't rescue Sykes. You just do both paintings, make your save, and then go fight Stefano. But since I rescued Sykes, I didn't want to lose any progression if I do get killed here.
You again.
But when we grab this key, I'm going to turn to the left slightly, and I'm going to go straight out
This should
that
get me
way.
close to that art.
Now, as soon as I round that corner to the right,
Shit.
you get a straight shot to the gate. As soon as I pass this hallway, you just basically throw a shock bolt down. That'll stun them just long enough so that you can open the gate and get out. Alright, this is the second phase of the fight with Stefano. The first phase, I kind of recommend only using your pistol only. This way you save your big guns, your shotgun, and your explosive bolts for this part. But I mainly stay in this back right corner if you're looking at the eye. And the tentacles, when it smashes down, it can't hit you. And then as you can see, I put a explosive bolt on each side. There you go. Now he swings twice now, and then you can shoot him.
No sense in running.
See, he's about ready to rush in, but the explosive bolt actually stopped him.
You can't hide forever. Bleed for me.
There you go. He throws a knife, and it leaves him open again.
Die. Stop moving, damn it. Philistine. You must.
See, I thought that would have stunned him there, but it didn't. And oh man, he really did some damage there too. I wasn't expecting that.
You can't hide forever. Bleed for me.
And there we go. We throw some more explosive bolts on each side.
Bleed for me. There will be nothing left of me when I'm done. I'll take care of you myself. No sense in running. Bleed for me. Bleed for me. There will be nothing left of me when I'm done. I'll take care of you myself. Stop moving, damn it! No sense in running. What competition, Philistine?
And there he is. He's done for. Alright, we're in chapter 9, and we're at the part we need to pick up the crank so that we can open the gate up ahead. Now, when we grab the crank, it'll open up all these cells with the enemies inside. So what I like to do is I like to clear the two enemies up front here, and then I like to go around and kill the enemies that are inside the jail, so it just makes it easier for me. So I'll quickly show you the ones that I killed, each one and where they're at. The first two are over by where the key is. And you can see the statue right there. And then I go to the right of him. Wake him up with a bullet to the head. I don't think he liked that. And then there's 4 in that little hallway on the way to the crank. I probably missed one, which I think we see in a little bit. Yeah, so there was the one I missed. And there's her right there. A lot easier than killing 6 of the enemies, 6 more enemies coming out of the cell. Now for these fire guys, I had 3 shock bolts ready, and I just simply fire shock and stomp. It took less than a minute to kill all 3 of them. Alright, we're at the end of chapter 9. We're about ready to make our 3rd save. Now I would solve this floor puzzle and pick up that key that's up top to the left before we go through the mirror and make our save. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to finally use all of our keys that we've been saving up throughout the game. And you're going to save right away, and you're going to reload if you don't get certain items that we need. And the items are fuse, nails, and condensers. Now the fuses are for the shock bolts for in the cabin inside of chapter 10. I like to have at least 5 or 6 of them on me before I go into that fight. And in chapter 11, for the boss fight, I like to use explosive bolts and ice bolts. For the explosive bolts, you need nails, and for the ice bolts, you need condensers. So again, if we don't get those 3 different items, I like to just reload my save and then try the lockers again. I end up having about 18 keys at this point, so I did pretty well in getting everything that I wanted. Now our next save is not going to be until after we beat the boss. So I like to stock up majorly up on explosive bolts and ice bolts. We don't have too many boss fights left, so now's the time to start using your items if you need to craft them or use your keys like I said. Alright, we're in chapter 10, the cabin. This kind of reminds me of the part in The Last of Us with Ellie where she was in the cabin too. But for the first part, you want to try to just use your pistol only. Try to reserve your ammo as much as you can. If they get too close, then you can use your shotgun. But after you clear these enemies here for the first set, what I do is I kick this barrel over towards the wall that opens up. And you'll see that in just a second. So for later on, we're going to light that on fire. But that's the wall that's going to basically, they're going to bust through. I just want to make sure that I light the enemies on fire towards the very end to make them a little easier. And so this is the second time they're going to come through this side right here.
I can hear more on the way.
Alright, so I guess you can almost call that part 1 of this from that side, and then part 2 is when they come through the back.
Eat lead, ugly son of a bitch!
And this is where I like to use the shock bolts.
Aim for the head. Takes less ammo.
Yeah, don't shoot when it's right there too, because you don't want to light that on fire and waste it on one guy.
I wish I had my bombs with me right now.
she actually missed that kick too, it looked
Eat
like.
lead, ugly son of a bitch! Shit, they're everywhere!
Don't let them gang up on you.
Yeah, so now we're getting close to the last part.
Not so bad yourself.
Now we're at the very last part, and this is where the barrel will come in play.
Hey, what the hell is that noise?
Oh shit. Watch out!
Oh, what are these things?
Doesn't matter, just kill them.
So we basically get the one crawler enemy, and then the 2 other ones are on fire right behind them. And then it just leaves us one of the crawler ones that I think she's shooting at right now. Yep. And that's it. I think it's dead. Yep. So that part's not too bad, and just remember to get the key, and it's when you go through the wall and it's up top in the ceiling.
Come on, we gotta keep moving. This way.
Alright, now we're in chapter 11. We're about ready to fight the boss. Now I like to make my save after this, but if you're having trouble with this boss, you could make the save before this. That would mean that you would be going through chapter 12, which is relatively easy, and chapter 13 until you get to the hotel with Hoffman. Now this is where the explosive bolts and freeze bolts are going to come in handy. Now I'll show most of the fight, just the key points that I did. But in the beginning I like to use as many of those explosive bolts so that he walks right into them. Either that or fire them onto him.
You can either die or change like me.
So he walks straight into him. Now he does start to flame the place up a little bit, so you will have to hit these switches that I'm about to do right now every once in a while.
Gotta put the flames out.
Damn you, Sebastian.
I don't know what I was swinging at there. I probably forgot to hit L2.
Scuffed me before.
This boss was not easy for me. That's why you see me spamming a lot of bullets, as many as I can. Now, fair warning, do not get close to this guy. He will impale you with his weapon and kill you instantly. I have died, I think, twice from that. And it happened when I tried to go one direction and I didn't put out the flames, and I basically got cornered by him. So you really got to be careful when that part happens. Now there's 2 phases to it. And I think we're about ready to go to the second phase now. You see there, they use the freeze bolt, and then we can get a couple shots in. Oh, it looks like we got 3. I got really close there. I don't know what was going on. I kept hitting the fire that was out around. You see it right there. This is another where you freeze them and forget to reload. That was a wasted. And I shoot him, and I believe it doesn't even hit him. Now we're in the second phase where he takes off his mask.
That's it! I'm done playing with you! Let the flames consume you! You think you're too good to fight me?
See, he was trying to stab me with his weapon there, and when you hear him make that noise, that's trouble. I was able to avoid it though, so it was good.
Damn you, Sebastian!
This is another good spot where you just shoot an ice bolt, hide, and then shoot. Now there's these tanks that you can actually shoot, these cryo tanks that will freeze them too.
I won't go down easy.
I recommend using those too, as many as you can, or all of them, so you save your ammunition.
I won't let him get away. I promise.
This fight can take quite a while. That's why I cut most of it out and just showed you the good points. There you go, he's done. After that, we can pick up the key that's right by Taurus and save.
I don't know.
Now that we got the key, we're on to our 4th save. Now if you're having problems with the boss, you can probably make your save before this and then go through 12 and 13 till you get to the hotel and then make your 5th save. Now the reason for it is because chapter 12 and 13 are fairly easy. I mean, chapter 12, there's 2 pouches that you can get if you want, and there's 2 of those bigger enemies that like to explode, but you can fire a smoke bolt at each one and it'll take care of them without any problems. In chapter 13, I don't do much there personally. I just pick up the 1 key outside the first safe house and the 2nd key outside the other. And then I go through that door and I do the shooting gallery before I make my save, which this is number 4 save. And when I get done with 13 and I'm up to the hotel, I'll come back and I'll show you what I did in the shooting gallery. Alright, in gallery mode, I did the 2 on easy, and I did the 2 on normal, and then on hard, I did the first 2. I didn't do the key for 3500, and I didn't do anything on very hard. Now on chain attack, I did all the way up to 80k. It would be nice to do at least 100k. That would give you an extra 100 gunpowder, but I just didn't feel like spending a lot of time here. Now, once you're done and you got everything you wanted out of there, now you're going to go make your 5th save. And on to basically the last part of chapter 13, which is the firewalk, leading into chapter 14. Now, if you remember from chapter 9, the shock bolts were very useful against those fire guys, and then stomp them. So make sure you have enough shock bolts before going into the fight.
It's working! Just make sure to stay inside the dome. Come on!
Here we are at the firewalk.
Through these flames.
What I like to
Keep
do
an
is I
eye out
like
for
to
those
try to
flames
shoot
and
the
follow me.
enemies outside the
Either
circle
way.
with a pistol. If they get too close, then I would just bring out the shotgun and take care of them real quick. And
One's coming through!
I like to use the shock bolts
There's more ammo
for
in my
whenever
pouch.
she's trying to
Take it.
repair the emitter.
Another one. Watch your back, Hoffman.
That's what you're here for!
Good thing. They're everywhere.
Alright, so it looks like one comes from the front and then one comes from the back.
How much further?
It seems a lot longer once you're in it.
He wants to keep us out. Good. That means he's afraid. Don't stop now. We're almost there.
Hold on! There's something wrong with the stabilizer!
Can you fix it?
I'm working on it! Watch my back!
Yeah, see, the circle gets a little small. This is why you want to use your shock bolts.
Bastion! Are you okay? Back up! Let's go!
That was close.
I told you it was temperamental!
Are you regretting this yet?
This is my chance to make up for what I did to Lily. And all the others I helped put in STEM. So no, I don't regret it.
Shit, my skin is burning. Just gotta get through this. What's happening?
It's failing again. Hold on.
This is the last time that it fails, so this is where you want to use your shock bolts again. See, he tried to swing, but I was in the animation to stomp, so he couldn't hit me. And there you go, that's it. On to chapter 14.
I got it.
We gotta go. Now.
Alright, this is the last area before we make our 6th save, right before the Keeper and Laura fight. After we shoot that, we're going to round the corner. What I like to do is I shoot an ice bolt at the Harbinger. It's a bit risky what I do. I think I was just running out of patience and I wanted to get to that 6th save. But as long as you have an ice bolt and a couple smoke bolts, you'll be fine. As you can see, I even get hit. And you got the lever right there. This is where I get hit. Yeah, he ran right into me. I do a freeze right there to stop him. And there's smoke to stop him there. Now, when we get to the next area, there's the last key. And you can actually get it before you pull the lever to do the last part. And I do that right here. I always use one of these bottles. I don't try to waste any bullets. There you go. Now we're going to make our 6th save right before we go fight the Keeper and Laura. And then right after this save, we're going to go open up the rest of the lockers with whatever remaining keys we have. So if you don't get anything that you you don't like and you wanna get something else, you can always just reload your save again and then reopen the lockers and try to get whatever you think you need for that last fight with the Keeper and Laura. I have to admit now, with the fight with the Keeper and Laura, I actually enjoyed this. Actually seeing them again. It wasn't too bad them bringing it back, kind of. But for the first Keeper, I just fire only regular harpoons at him. Nothing else. I saved my explosive bolts for when there's 2 Keepers. But I mainly just keep circling around this area. There he goes, hitting his head again. Alright, so that one's done. And you can see this, that's when you know that 2 of them are coming. So as you can see, I'm just circling around the whole time and just firing an explosive bolt at him. Now, I don't know if you guys had trouble, but when I played the original Evil Within, this boss fight gave me a lot of trouble with Laura. I mainly just use shock bolts to stop her. So that I can turn these. You have to turn 2 of them in order for the fire to work. I see. I fired one way too early because I thought it was right around the corner. So after you turn the second one, and now you can flip the switch to burn her twice, and she's done. Yeah, as you can see, pitting it dead center wasn't a good idea because it has a little bit of a range when it zaps her. So they even give you shock bolts too in here, so it's almost advertising, hey, use these. Oh yeah, that was a little too early. And there we go, we're done. Alright, so this is the last, kind of like a sub-boss before the final boss. power line kind of creature, but it hit me a couple times where it did some major damage. So I decided to show this because how I got past it is I basically circled this tree to the right of the house and just kept fighting it that way. As you can see, it's easy to avoid it. Just keep going around this tree. There it goes, it's done. So now we're on our way
Please let that be the last time.
to our last save. So whatever you want to craft now, if you have any keys left, use them. And this is it. We're last save right before the final boss fight. Here we are, the last boss before we finish classic mode. After this fight, we have a small section with Kidman, but she has unlimited ammo, so it's not that big of a deal. Here you just want to use anything and everything you got left. So I started off with the assault rifle. Her weak point is right there at her stomach, but there's a kind of like a protective cage that we need to shoot down first.
God damn it, Myra! Stop this! Think about what you're doing!
As you see, she just smashes down with her arms and just run from the side to avoid.
It was right in front of you! I don't want to do this to you,
Now you
Myra.
can see her weak point now once you destroy that cage. And then once that weak point's gone, a bunch of spiders will spawn in. You can either stomp them, or since I had a lot of shock bolts left, I just spammed them on the ground. Now the next weak points are on the two shoulders, towards the back, top back. Now, I don't know what these two things were, if they spawn more spiders, but I got rid of them quickly just in case there was something different. And this is where you need to be careful. Once you shoot the arm off, this can actually kill you instantly if you do not shoot it in time. It takes about 4 shots. There's 1 there, 2, 3, and 4. That's the only time during the fight that things could go extremely wrong. But now we're on to the last arm. Now whatever this thing is, when it smashes down like this, if you remember the Watcher from chapter 6 and his goo like projections that come out from the ground, you just need to avoid these by just running away. You can see the shadow from in the background. But we're just onto that last arm. Now once that's gone, with the very last part of the fight, which is her face that we need to shoot. And remember, there's a lot of materials that you can craft weapon parts, well, not weapon parts, weapon ammo on the ground. Well, we're just basically shooting her face now. I pretty much was running low on everything, so I used my sniper to finish her off. And that's it. We are pretty much done with classic mode, just the kid midsection, which is not that bad. I showed a little clip of what I did of my time in classic mode. But I'd like to thank everybody that watched. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, and then I'll see you next time.